Hello everyone, this is Kat and welcome back to Exiting the First Cognition. I got an idea about what to cover for my next script, and it's something we all eventually face on our path, but this is also kind of a mixture of a few things. So I'm just going to write it out and see where my push and my thoughts go. But I have been pondering some things lately that I know has been discussed before, but I thought I could try covering it from my perspective to give others a different point of view to consider from my own insights so far. Something that has been on the back of my mind lately while contemplating this stuff is how my connection with my Soika seemed stronger and more active when I was a child or in my younger years. And I know I sound young to you all, but I wondered why it seemed this way. What came to me was that I did not have the filters or bindings back then that I had now. I may have viewed my Soika as something spectacular or supernatural, but what is different was that I didn't know. And my ignorance, or innocence, whichever word you prefer, allowed my Soika to convey more to me, more freely. My blank slate did not carry the baggage I started carrying over the years, so there was no filters or doubt that could block or impede how my Soika communicated with me. I did not know what doubt was, so how could doubt impede my Soika? I did not know what God was, nor did I believe in Him, so how could I become fearful about something I didn't understand? I didn't know what my Soika actually was, so there was no 3D correlation I had for programming to inhibit the connection between my Soika and myself. My connection with my Soika was stronger back then because my youthful ignorance allowed it to just be. This is the gift and beauty we had as children, and this is the gift and beauty that is taken away from us. The choice to become who we are, as God mentions in Conversations with God, and free from the world intruding into our minds and our being, free from trespass. At this point, I don't even know if I'm making sense anymore, but what I do know is that we are working to be genuinely born again, attaining the blank slate or the empty cup that we once had, like when we were children, to become the individuals and creators that we were born to be before indoctrination and programming we did not choose was forced upon us. And what being born again really is removing the baggage and fear that I mentioned before in other videos, so that we can become whoever we want to be without any harnessing on us to restrict our Soikas or on our journey to advance and grow ourselves, our consciousness. Once we start tearing down the programming that was foisted onto us, the connection that we once had more strongly as children is open up again. Yet it is not a floodgate that just happens overnight. It is a dam we have to keep willfully tearing down. I recall a time when I was so riddled with doubt, anger, and depression that confidence and feeling powerful in who I am felt impossible. How could I ever feel happy? How could I ever feel strong? But now I know that I once did possess this strength or connection, as it were. I just never knew what it was. I'm realizing more and more that our Soika was never separate from us, but belief in programming makes us think so. This is something that has always been innate in us. We just have to remember it and then allow our Soika to just be. And by just be, what I mean is learning to let go of our obsession of needing to be in control, knowing every single detail and micromanaging everything we do. In essence, clinging to the known. I feel there is much more to this than just that, and it's a feeling I can't quite put into words for others to compoople, but it is a feeling of being genuinely comfortable, living in your own skin and being who you are, increasingly free of expectations, feelings of inferiority, and worry of what the world and of what people think of you, free from being just a mere victimized human being in the big bad world or cosmos. Some of you are familiar with the term surrender. I know I am, because I heard of surrendering many times in the New Age and in other belief systems, but I never knew what it actually was until now, and it's bullshit. But I recently watched Marvel's Doctor Strange, and the Ancient One in the movie tells Doctor Strange that his intellect has taken him far in life, but it will take him no further. In other words, we reach a point where we have no other choice but to trust the process and just go with it. But I want to take a moment to share here is that there is a difference between learning to relax into just being who you are, from just surrendering yourself to some belief or ideology and then just riding on your laurels in whatever belief it is, or just keep giving up to the defeatist mentality. And as I tried to explain earlier, all the present 3D concepts that we know of, along with overthinking, programming, and doubt, will take us no further if we keep stopping at the brick wall. And the wall that we all eventually face that inhibits our progress is fear. Whatever the fear is, we have to overcome our doubt, because we do not have much time with our short lifespans. What I mean by this is, the longer we allow our doubt to have power over us, we will stall and stagnate in our growth, and our advancement will always be half-assed. I know this because I did this too. I'm realizing though and understanding how doubt is just another anchor that keeps us back from moving forward and attaining self-trust. Is this hard? Yes, it is, but I keep pushing to understand and stretch myself, because I know that is how I advance. And my hurdle in this process, which is a hurdle we all share most likely, is learning to relax into this without falling back into doubt or programmed habits, and learning patience. Dovetailing back to what I mentioned earlier, our innocence as children allowed our Soika to speak to us because we are more open and fluid. This is something else that we have to relearn as well, and as I write this, I realize that while we also must keep pushing our known 3D boundaries to expand beyond the box, we must also start the habit of perceiving ourselves as outside of the box, or more particularly, our bodies. Our Soika is not just outside of us, it is innate, yet it is also out there too. We are more than our forms, and we must start regarding ourselves as more than we think we are. If we want to know the unknown about creation, it's imperative that we quit thinking less of ourselves or that we are unworthy. What I'm trying to say is that while I knew on one level that a part of me as my Soika was out there, it was just an acknowledgement. What I'm conveying now is that I'm realizing the more I grow and expand, the more I'm getting in touch with parts of my being that is regarded as out there, or rather, we start to merge. But we need to keep pushing past our comfort zones and our fears to tear down feelings of being lesser than. And contrary to what the mystics say, we cannot draw down the heavens into our limited cognitive perceptions to grope this. We have to push ourselves to kapupo ourselves as Soika. Once I began entering my adolescent stage, I was utterly emotionally insecure, and I had zero confidence in myself at all. I was stuck in my own victim mentality, and I resented and beat myself up all of the time because I hated myself and my life. Why? Because I felt powerless, small, insignificant, worthless. Is this not all rooted in fear? I felt I had no control over my own life, and this feeling deprived me of my happiness. So I began to become a control freak in my own way. This programmed behavior that I started only built up a wall between me and the connection I once had with my Soika. Now I'm finding that all of my old fears and insecurities are beginning to fade away and diminish into the past. They're ceasing to be a part of my reality. That is what I have been working to convey, and I'm not even sure if I make much sense. I'm becoming more comfortable in who I am and living my life as my Soika, with fear becoming a thing of the past. I'm learning again to let go and just be myself as my Soika, and becoming more fluid in my thoughts, action, and intent in my pursuit to expand my consciousness and my being. I want to thank you all for listening to me, and I hope I made sense in sharing my recent insights with you today. If you have any questions or want clarifications, please ask and leave a comment down below, and I will do my best to answer any questions you may have about what I shared in this video. Until next time, keep on exiting the first cognition.